Are AEW buying CM Punk out of his contract? We've got more big changes to WWE Premium Live event plans, and a classic WWE event could be returning soon. Stay tuned for the news. So we're back for a third news video today. We've got the third one. Wow, my God, it's a busy one, Andrew. It is busy, but we're going to kick things off with a report from the Wrestling Observer. CM Punk has been a topic of discussion for now a month and a half, and I feel like I say that every time we discuss something related to All Out and that fracas that went on. But the Observer's given a new report saying that AEW is in talks with Punk about his future, but right now it looks doubtful that he will be back. Those close to the situation have knowledge, and they say they're in talks with Punk about a buyout of the remaining years of his contract, which tell you, that they're not really looking to bring him back if they're in a buyout situation. The hold-up right now is said to be the non-compete period, because most contracts have a non-compete period that stops them going from the competition. Now, WWE is notable for having, 90 days non-competes for the main roster, maybe 30 days for NXT. So this is quite interesting to see on the AEW side of things. Then Meltzer continues by saying, obviously, if the non-compete is an issue, it's about interest in going to WWE. Triple H's whole game right now is about surprise debuts, and Punk would be the biggest possible for him to bring in to make an impact. Absolutely. I think we can all sort of agree on that one. Meltzer continues by saying, there's a flip side to this, of course, and there is no lock WWE would take him, since when Fox pushed for him to come back in, they didn't take him. We saw him as part of WWE backstage. Do you think we'll see him?
No.
No?
I don't think so. I think that ship has sailed for Punk in WWE, especially, obviously, we know his relationship with Vince McMahon, we know his relationship with Triple H as well was tumultuous, I think, to say the least. And I really don't see him going back at all right now, and especially after sort of everything that happened at the media scrum as well. I think that would be something that WWE would also look at too, in terms of, should we bring him back, should we not, and all just the things that have come out from that. I really don't think, especially when Fox pushed them to bring him back as well, and they didn't do that. I really don't see it happening right now, even under Triple H's regime.
Yeah, I think I agree. Even if Fox had gone and made a really hard push and they've said no, right now with all the sort of stigma surrounding Punk and the baggage that comes along with that, it's just not worth it to bring him back. Obviously, though, if AEW is concerned about it, there must be some, it comes from a real place. Like, we know Triple H and CM Punk haven't got along in the past, but I feel like Triple H could put personal vendettas aside, maybe bring him back if that was a thing that they were going to do. Meltzer also said that nobody from WWE has had any actual contact with Punk. But Punk is very close with Adam Pearce, who has obviously got some pull now in WWE, and he's been extremely close to Paul Heyman, who also higher ups in WWE seem to listen to quite a bit and really, really like. He's obviously had a lot of input in Reigns' creative direction. So no surprise there that Punk has people he can talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess business-wise, it's not out of the realm of possibility that business-wise, as you were saying, Triple H, CM Punk could possibly just put all these... I mean, it was a big deal. It was a big deal why Punk left WWE in the first place. So whether he would sort of go back on his morals remains to be seen, but from a business aspect, I think for Triple H possibly it could be sort of a reason for him to be like, let's maybe put everything aside from before and maybe we can work something out. But I think with like how big of a deal it was and the reason why Punk left in the first place, feels like it wouldn't be something that he would want to go back to, that sort of routine. Obviously, I'm sure it'd be a different contract scenario, right?
Yeah,
him coming back to something like that. Yeah, so who knows? It's very interesting though that's even something that could be potentially talked about at the moment.
I mean, it felt like the biggest thing in the world, CM Punk coming back to wrestling for AEW, and if there's the talk that potentially AEW's worried about him going to WWE, that I think is potentially bigger than even his return to wrestling, just in a sense of like, he's been so critical of WWE for the past year from day one. He's just constantly gone in and gone, I'm not going back there, but I mentioned Day One there because Dave Meltzer in this week's Wrestling Observer has given us an update on WWE Day One, the premium live event that takes place on January 1st. But we've reported that they were maybe going to mix it up a bit and not have it on January 1st and have it on January 3rd, which would not make sense for the name Day One.
Yeah.
But Dave has said that the sheer amount of football taking place in the area, Atlanta, Georgia, was causing issues internally. It looks like the date will be moved from January 1st to January 20th, and instead of a WWE Premium Live event, it will just be a taping of SmackDown. Now, WWE's not confirmed or denied these reports, and tickets for Day One are still on sale.
Oh.
But it does look like they're going to make some dramatic changes to the start of the year in the calendar.
Yes. Day 20.
Day 20, perhaps. That's a perfect branding for it. But Dave also reported something else. What was it, Andy?
Oh my goodness. Dave also reports, everybody, that UK fans will be getting something extra on an annual basis. He says there are a lot of pay-per-view changes rumoured for 2023, which include the idea of doing one pay-per-view per year from the UK to go along with the 2 from Saudi Arabia as well. Dave also reiterates that what was reported earlier this week with less gimmick pay-per-views going forward, we're starting to see that be culled back a little bit, and those are getting pushed to the side.
You were at the first UK pay-per-view.
The first UK pay-per-view?
Let's forget the old ones. Let's forget the old ones.
I wasn't born then.
The first new UK pay-per-view of the new era.
Under the new regime.
First one in 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So how was the atmosphere at that one?
It was ridiculous. Like, I think from seeing that and being there and being within everything that was going on, it felt like this should be an annual thing.
Right.
Because the crowd was so loud. I don't know whether I think I've watched it back, but I really can't remember. But the crowd was so loud, if that came through on the
it did translate. Yeah, it did translate.
That's all right,
it felt major, especially with Edge's entrance.
Oh, that was insane.
So I'm not surprised that WWE would be looking to maybe come back here for another show. We've got so many cities that we could potentially host it in.
So many castles.
So many castles, Edinburgh. The only worry, though, is that, not many stadiums here have a roof. Yeah. And we have bad weather.
We have very bad weather.
So it would have to be, they'd have to pick it very carefully around when it could take place, probably summer, which it would be a good time, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe the pay-per-view after SummerSlam like we saw this year. But I'm all for them bringing another show back here. It would fit perfectly into the calendar. It would make us feel special.
I mean, that's the thing as well, because they made such a deal out of it, and rightly so as well. And we saw, leading up to the event, all these little special shows going on, meet and greets and everything, to pop-up shops for people to go and visit. Like, they really made a huge event, like a huge event around pretty much the whole entire week leading up to it. And it felt incredible. And I mean, that's got to be good for the economy as well, right? The economy.
It would be good for the economy, but I would love to see that return at some point soon. But there's another pay-per-view that WWE is thinking about bringing back and returning, is the King of the Ring tournament as a pay-per-view. So, with a show that would be called King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. So we'd have both of them on it. King of the Ring was, of course, dropped as a pay-per-view back in 2002 due to weak numbers. Vince just canned it. But the Observer's reporting that it could be coming back. Today, with no need to have pay-per-view draws as a separate buy, things like not putting on shows that didn't draw or having to do shows in prime time, since most of the money comes from the US, isn't really a concern for them right now, because they can just stream it. You can stream it at any point. King of the Ring, what a shout to come back. I think a lot of people wanted that back at some point.
I mean, obviously we've seen it recently, but it just doesn't feel as though it's a big deal in terms of someone gets that title, they'll wear a scepter, they'll hold a scepter and wear a crown for a little bit. And then that's kind of it, right? If it's got some sort of stakes, because I think it was I can't remember if it was 2002 or when Teddy Long brought it back, but it was one of the more recent iterations of it, where it was like, you will get a shot at SummerSlam for the championship. And I think if it's got some sort of stakes like that, that makes it a little bit more intriguing for us as viewers, and also for the wrestlers as well. And I feel like a tournament is always a good way to showcase someone who might have been under the radar for a little bit, and actually get like a lot of fan support behind them to build them up. And who doesn't love an underdog in a tournament as well, right?
I mean, even if they don't win it, that's a good way to just build folk up and give them that big win. I completely agree in the sort of the fact that it should lead to something more than just have a crown, here's a cape, have a scepter, you're now king, whatever your last name is. It should lead to a title match, a title opportunity, or some bigger thing.
Yes, yeah.
Rather than just you're now King Andrew.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you get the wee crown. You get the wee crown instead of a cap. But that is all the news we've got for you just now. I'll be back tomorrow with Sam first thing on the news. We've got the podcast going out tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm on Twitch at 6. There's a lot of content.
There's a lot. You did a nice little podcast with Jack and Tom as well.
Yeah, that's coming out on Sunday, so stay tuned for the channel for that. In the meantime, I'm off to go and have some lunch or food or whatever. I don't know.
Lunch or food or whatever.
I've lost track of all time, but we will see you later.